Goku shifts his weight on the smooth grass of Beerus's planet, his eyes locked onto his training partner. Opposite him, Vegeta stands with a tense posture, waiting for the slightest movement to initiate their daily sparring session. Whis watches from a distance, holding his staff aloft as the divine energy of the realm hums quietly around them. This intense routine stems from their recent defeat, driving the two Saiyans to push past their current limitations. They know that a massive power gap remains between them and the universal threats currently lurking in the dark. Goku breaks the silence by leaping forward, launching a rapid succession of punches that cut through the thin air. Vegeta blocks each strike with his forearms, the impacts creating sharp acoustic booms that echo across the landscape. While defending, Vegeta barks out that his rival is moving too slowly to challenge the apex power they witnessed during their last encounter. Goku grins through the strain, shouting back that he is merely warming up his muscles before tapping into his deeper techniques. Their movements accelerate until their bodies become mere blurs against the alien sky. Vegeta repels the final strike with a powerful ki, forcing his opponent backward by several meters. Taking a brief breath, Vegeta explains that traditional martial arts training will never suffice to defeat Frieza. Goku nods in agreement, acknowledging that the overwhelming strength of their rival requires a completely different approach to combat mastery. They both understand that their survival depends on perfecting their divine forms before their nemesis decides to strike again. The memory of their swift defeat motivates them to discard any remnants of complacency. Whis glides over to the two exhausted warriors, the gem on his staff glowing with a soft blue light. Whis informs them that divine entities cannot interfere with mortal conflicts or track the Galactic Emperor for them. Goku sighs, expressing his understanding of the rules of the gods while wiping sweat from his forehead. Vegeta crosses his arms, muttering that he prefers to hunt down their target without relying on angelic assistance anyway. The conversation reinforces the reality that the Saiyans are entirely on their own to resolve this impending galactic crisis. Far beyond the boundaries of the divine realm, deep within an uncharted sector of space, Frieza sits calmly on a floating throne inside his massive flagship. Frieza reviews holographic star charts displaying dozens of newly conquered planetary systems organized in a tactical log. His recent ascendancy to this unparalleled state of power has allowed his empire to expand at an unprecedented rate across the universe. Despite his current dominance, the Emperor remains unsatisfied with mere territorial control and seeks an ancient source of power to solidify his rule. This driving ambition establishes his primary objective to secure total cosmic supremacy. Frieza summons his top operational commanders to the bridge, his voice carrying a chilling tone of absolute authority. Frieza commands them to alter the ship's trajectory immediately toward a cluster of dead worlds located near the galactic rim. He explains that an ancient artifact known as the planet core lies hidden beneath the surface of a desolate world in that sector. According to Imperial intelligence records, this artifact possesses the unique ability to channel and amplify planetary life forces directly into its wielder. The crew immediately executes the order, setting a course that will bring them closer to this mysterious energy source. While the Imperial flagship speeds through the vacuum of space, a completely different vessel enters the upper atmosphere of New Namek. The massive, dark starship casts a heavy shadow over the peaceful green plains, disrupting the tranquil life of the native population. The local inhabitants look up in terror as the unfamiliar vessel descends, its engines roaring with an ominous vibration. This unexpected arrival breaks the long period of peace that the planet has enjoyed since its restoration. The ground trembles as the landing gear locks into place near a major Namekian village. Lord Slug steps out of the dark starship's primary decompression hatch, his massive frame emitting a suffocating, malevolent pressure. Lord Slug surveys the surrounding landscape with a cold, demanding gaze that terrifies the gathering villagers. He loudly announces his arrival to the trembling populace, demanding that they immediately surrender all 7 Namekian Dragon Balls to his vanguard. Lord Slug reveals that his ancient life force is rapidly fading due to extreme old age, and he intends to use the magical spheres to grant himself eternal youth. This aggressive invasion introduces a dire threat to the survival of the Namekian race. Elder Mori steps forward from the crowd of frightened villagers, raising his hand to halt his people from attacking blindly. Elder Mori courageously informs the invading tyrant that the Dragon Balls are sacred artifacts meant only for peaceful purposes, not for selfish desires. Lord Slug laughs menacingly at the refusal, asserting that physical weakness gives the natives no right to deny his ultimate command. To demonstrate his ruthlessness, Lord Slug unleashes a sharp wave of telekinetic force that shatters a nearby stone structure into dust. The demonstration of power forces the elders to realize the immense danger they face. Meanwhile, on the distant planet Earth, Earth. Gamma 1 sits inside a state-of-the-art security monitoring facility operated by Capsule Corporation. Gamma 1 meticulously scans global energy readouts, fulfilling his duty to protect the planet from any remaining red ribbon remnants or external threats. His cybernetic systems process millions of data packets per second, ensuring total surveillance over key geographical zones. The peaceful atmosphere of his current assignment allows him to reflect on his past errors and focus entirely on his role as a protector of justice. However, this routine monitoring is suddenly interrupted by a highly unusual alert on his primary console. Gamma 1 observes a strange, encrypted sub-frequency that is broadcasting from an abandoned underground laboratory formerly owned by the Red Ribbon Army. Gamma 1 notes that the incoming transmission contains specific parameters that require immediate attention. The transmission appears to be an automated activation sequence, sending out data streams that could potentially compromise global defense networks if left unchecked. Gamma 1 immediately initiates a tracing protocol to pinpoint the exact depth and structural integrity of the broadcasting source. The mysterious nature of the transmission suggests that a hidden threat may be waking up beneath the Earth. Bulma walks into the security command center carrying a tablet that displays the exact same anomalous energy spikes. Bulma requests that Gamma 1 fly to the coordinates immediately to investigate the laboratory before the signal causes widespread technological chaos. Gamma 1 salutes confidently, assuring her that he will neutralize the source of the broadcast and ensure the security of the planet. Without wasting another moment, Gamma 1 activates his thrusters, launching himself through the roof hatch and speeding toward the remote mountain range. This investigation sets off a critical race against time to prevent a potential cybernetic resurgence. In another part of Earth, far above the clouds, Piccolo stands motionless on the edge of the lookout. Piccolo senses a bizarre, localized distortion in the fabric of space, emanating directly from the entrance of the hyperbolic time chamber. The heavy wooden doors of the mystical building are vibrating slightly, releasing faint wisps of distorted white energy into the sacred grounds. Piccolo recognizes that this phenomenon is entirely unprecedented and poses a severe risk to the structural stability of the entire platform. The mysterious anomaly prompts him to seek immediate assistance to contain the brewing crisis. Gohan descends from the sky and lands gently on the tiled floor of the lookout, having arrived instantly after receiving Piccolo's urgent telepathic summons. Gohan observes the vibrating structure and notes that the ambient energy in the air feels incredibly heavy and unstable. Piccolo explains to him that the internal dimensions of the chamber appear to be collapsing inward, creating a volatile rift. Gohan expresses his concern, realizing that if the chamber ruptures completely, it could tear a hole in the Earth's atmosphere. They both agree that they must enter the unstable realm together to investigate and neutralize the source of the distortion. Piccolo places his hand on the heavy brass handle of the door, cautioning Gohan to brace himself for extreme gravitational fluctuations. Gohan nods seriously, shifting his focus entirely to his internal ki as they prepare to cross the threshold into the unstable dimension. The air around the entrance grows colder, and the sound of cracking reality echoes from within the building. With a swift movement, Piccolo pulls the door open, revealing a swirling vortex of white and purple energy instead of the usual endless void. They step forward into the shimmering chaos, initiating a perilous mission to save their world from dimensional destruction. Back on the distant world of Beerus, the training session between the two Saiyans reaches a critical turning point. Goku powers up instantly, a brilliant aura of divine blue light erupting around his body as he increases his velocity. Vegeta smirks at the sudden escalation, welcoming the increased pressure as a necessary test of his own defensive capabilities. Goku launches a barrage of heavy energy blasts, each one traveling fast enough to distort the space around the divine training grounds. The sheer intensity of the assault forces his rival to abandon his standard form to match the incoming power. Vegeta transforms instantly, his aura flaring with a deep purple destructive energy that completely obliterates the incoming blasts upon contact. Vegeta charges forward, explaining that the nature of his power allows him to grow stronger with every ounce of battle heat he absorbs. Goku parries a devastating right hook, feeling the immense weight of the destructive ki pressing against his own defenses. The two elite warriors clash in mid-air, their blows creating shockwaves that rattle the ancient trees surrounding the lake. Their relentless pursuit of strength drives them to fight with absolute seriousness, ignoring the physical toll on their bodies. Beerus awakens abruptly from his nap on a nearby stone lounger, his face contorted with intense irritation at the loud explosions disrupting his rest. Beerus loudly warns the Saiyans that if they chip his planet's crust or destroy his favorite tree, he will erase them both from existence without hesitation. Goku quickly backs away from the fight, laughing nervously while apologizing to the god of destruction for their excessive noise. Vegeta maintains his battle stance, scoffing at the interruption but lowering his power slightly to avoid further angering their host. The brief pause allows the fighters to catch their breath while remaining focused on their underlying objective. Meanwhile, the Imperial flagship of the Frieza Force arrives at the coordinates of the desolate planet in the Outer Rim. Frieza flies down to the surface unaccompanied, landing in front of an ancient, crumbling vault constructed from an unknown obsidian material. Frieza scans the structure, noting that a powerful barrier of ancient magical energy seals the entrance to the artifact's resting place. He remarks to himself that simple physical strength is often insufficient against such primitive sorcery, though he remains confident in his ultimate power. The Emperor raises his hand, gathering a dense sphere of black energy at the tip of his index finger. Frieza fires a concentrated death beam directly at the center of the magical seal, causing a massive explosion that illuminates the dark sky. The ancient barrier crackles violently, resisting the immense destructive force of the Emperor's signature technique for several tense moments. Frieza intensifies his energy output, refusing to let a forgotten spell impede his progress toward obtaining the planet core. The ground beneath his feet fractures into deep chasms as the sheer pressure of his ki distorts the planet's gravitational field. With a deafening shatter, the magical defense begins to crumble under the relentless assault. On New Namek, the situation grows increasingly dire as the invading forces systematically overwhelm the local defenders. Lord Slug easily deflects a coordinated energy attack from 3 Namekian warriors, counterattacking with a sweeping arm movement that sends them crashing into the dirt. Lord Slug commands his subordinates to bring him the remaining Dragon Balls, expressing his growing impatience as his physical body weakens further from age. Elder Mori watches in horror from the ground, realizing that none of the peaceful citizens possess the combat power necessary to halt this tyrant's advance. The invading soldiers successfully extract 2 more giant spheres from the central village archive, bringing them closer to their goal. Lord Slug walks over to the gathered Dragon Balls, his eyes gleaming with malicious satisfaction as he counts 5 of the magical artifacts. Lord Slug orders his scout captains to expand their search radius to the northern quadrant where the final 2 spheres are located. Elder Mori silently attempts to send a telepathic distress signal to Earth, hoping that anyone can hear his plea for immediate assistance. However, the oppressive dark energy radiating from Lord Slug disrupts the mental transmission, severing New Namek's connection to the outside world. The realization of complete isolation deepens the despair of the captive Namekians. Back on Earth, Gamma 1 lands outside the precise coordinates of the abandoned Red Ribbon installation, his boots crunching against the loose gravel. Gamma 1 surveys the collapsed concrete bunker, noting that the entrance has been intentionally sealed by heavy debris for many years. Using his advanced cybernetic sensors, Gamma 1 confirms that the rogue signal is originating from a chamber located exactly 50 meters beneath the surface rubble. He extends his hand, firing a precise photon blast that vaporizes the blocking stones and reveals a dark, vertical shaft leading downward. Gamma 1 leaps into the opening, descending into the pitch-black depths of the forgotten laboratory. Gamma 1 activates his internal night vision systems as he reaches the bottom of the shaft, illuminating a massive subterranean facility filled with rusted machinery. Gamma 1 notices that a central supercomputer terminal is fully powered, its green screens flickering with continuous streams of complex code. The data scrolling across the monitors indicates that an automated backup protocol is currently transferring files into a large cybernetic incubation capsule at the back of the room. Gamma 1 approaches the terminal, attempting to interface with the system to terminate the upload before the process reaches completion. The mysterious nature of the project fills him with a sense of urgent apprehension. Simultaneously, Gohan and Piccolo navigate the chaotic interior of the hyperbolic time chamber, where the familiar white void has been replaced by a tempest of energy. Gohan struggles to maintain his footing against a powerful dimensional pull that threatens to drag them deeper into the expanding rift. Piccolo points toward the center of the vortex, noting that a massive tear in reality is actively consuming the surrounding space. They observe strange, distorted reflections of alternate timelines flickering within the edges of the spatial fracture, creating an unsettling visual display. The sheer scale of the anomaly makes it clear that standard techniques will not suffice to close it. Piccolo extends both hands forward, generating a powerful ki barrier to shield them from the volatile dimensional debris flying through the air. Piccolo commands Gohan to unleash his full power, explaining that a massive concentrated blast might force the edges of the rift to fuse back together. Gohan understands the plan, taking a deep stance while focusing his mind on the absolute peak of his latent combat potential. The air around the young warrior begins to vibrate violently as he prepares to unleash the devastating strength he achieved in his recent battles. They know they only have one opportunity to seal the rift before it becomes entirely unmanageable. Gohan powers up instantly, a brilliant white aura enveloping his body as his combat power skyrockets to immense levels. Gohan begins to gather energy into his cupped hands, the brilliant blue light illuminating the dark, swirling chaos of the collapsing chamber. Piccolo maintains the protective barrier with gritted teeth, feeling the immense pressure of the rift fighting against his defensive ki. As Gohan concentrates his attack, he catches sight of a shadowy silhouette moving deep within the center of the vortex, suggesting that something or someone might be actively causing the distortion from the other side. Meanwhile, on Beerus's planet, Goku transitions into his state of absolute calm, his entire form shifting to a serene silver sheen. Goku effortlessly evades a series of aggressive physical strikes from his rival, his body moving automatically without the need for conscious thought. Vegeta roars with frustration, increasing the speed and ferocity of his punches to break through the perfect evasive maneuvers of his opponent. The clash between absolute destruction and perfect instinct creates a spectacular display of divine martial arts that shakes the entire planet's atmosphere. Whis observes the exchange with a critical eye, noting the technical progression of both Saiyans. Vegeta swings a powerful, energy-infused fist, but Whis suddenly appears between the two combatants, tapping his staff lightly against the ground. The sudden intervention instantly dissipates the combatants' auras, freezing Goku and Vegeta mid-motion with absolute angelic authority. Goku reverts to his normal state as the pressure lifts, asking Whis why he chose to interrupt their training session so abruptly. Vegeta also powers down, crossing his arms in irritation while demanding an explanation for the unexpected halt. Whis looks unusually serious, his expression signaling that an event of extreme importance has occurred. Whis explains that the cosmic balance of Universe 7 is currently experiencing multiple severe disruptions that require their immediate attention. Whis projects a series of glowing images from the gemstone of his staff, displaying the various crises occurring across the galaxy simultaneously. Goku watches the projections with growing concern, recognizing the locations of several familiar planets under immense distress. Vegeta narrows his eyes at the images, realizing that the threats they are facing are far more widespread than a single galactic emperor. The revelation forces the Saiyans to shift their focus from training to active galactic defense. Far away, Frieza delivers a final, shattering blow to the ancient vault door, completely obliterating the obsidian structure into microscopic fragments. Frieza steps into the central chamber, his gaze locking onto a floating crystalline sphere that pulses with an intense, raw planetary energy. He reaches out and grasps the planet core, instantly feeling the immense life force of the dead world flowing directly into his body. The Emperor laughs quietly, noting that this artifact will provide the necessary foundation to elevate his power even further beyond its current limits. With the item secured, he prepares to return to his flagship to execute the next phase of his conquest. Frieza exits the crumbling vault, his newly amplified energy causing the entire desolate planet to suffer severe tectonic instability. Frieza communicates telepathically with his flagship, ordering his crew to prepare for an immediate departure to their next high-value target destination. He knows that his actions will eventually draw the attention of the Saiyans and the gods, but he welcomes the opportunity to destroy them completely with his enhanced power. The acquisition of the planet core marks a significant step forward in his master plan for undisputed galactic domination. The flagship's tractor beam activates, pulling the Emperor back into the vessel. On New Namek, Lord Slug smiles maliciously as his elite soldiers return with the final 2 Namekian Dragon Balls, completing the set of 7 giant spheres. Lord Slug arranges the artifacts in a wide circle on the grass, their golden surfaces reflecting the dim light of the planet's 3 suns. He forces Elder Mori to stand before the spheres, commanding the Elder to chant the sacred incantation required to summon the eternal dragon Purunga. Elder Mori hesitates, knowing the horrific consequences if this ancient tyrant regains his youthful vigor and unbridled power. Lord Slug raises his hand threateningly, warning that any further delay will result in the immediate eradication of every villager on the planet. Inside the Dark Earth laboratory, Gamma 1 frantically types commands into the primary red ribbon console, attempting to breach the system's firewall. Gamma 1 discovers that the rogue signal is an automated AI resurrection protocol that is completely immune to external override commands. The incubation capsule in front of him begins to hiss loudly, releasing thick clouds of pressurized coolant as the internal systems reach maximum capacity. Gamma 1 steps back, drawing his blaster weapon while preparing to confront whatever cybernetic entity is about to emerge from the pod. The impending awakening threatens to unleash a forgotten terror upon the peaceful planet. Within the collapsing hyperbolic time chamber, Piccolo unleashes his inner strength, his power level escalating dramatically as he reinforces his energy barrier. Piccolo shouts to Gohan that the dimensional rift is expanding faster than they anticipated. Gohan fires his fully charged energy blast directly into the center of the swirling collapsing vortex, creating a cataclysmic explosion of contrasting forces. Instead of closing, the rift reacts violently to the massive energy input, generating a powerful gravitational suction that begins to pull both warriors directly into the glowing void. They struggle against the immense force, completely unable to break free from the dimensional trap. Back on Beerus's planet, Whis concludes his presentation of the various galactic crises, leaving the glowing projections hovering in the air. Goku and Vegeta look at each other with deep gravity, realizing that they cannot be in multiple places at once to resolve these simultaneous threats. Whis informs them that they must make an immediate decision on which planetary emergency to address first, as time is rapidly running out for Universe 7. Goku focuses his mind, blocking out the ambient humming of Beerus's planet as he shifts his attention toward the distant life forces of Earth. Vegeta stands rigid beside his rival, adjusting his stance while advising that they cannot afford to hesitate when multiple sectors are in jeopardy. Whis lowers his staff, observing the two Saiyans with a calm demeanor as they formulate their immediate course of action. Goku announces that he can distinctly sense the rapidly fluctuating energies of Gohan and Piccolo, suggesting that they use instant transmission to secure Earth before addressing the rest of the galaxy. Vegeta places a hand firmly on his companion's shoulder, commanding him to execute the teleportation technique without a single second of delay. Moving across the dimensional divide at that exact microsecond, Gohan exerts a tremendous amount of physical effort to resist the massive gravitational pull inside the hyperbolic time chamber. Piccolo struggles to maintain his footing alongside the young warrior, his energy barrier crackling violently against the unstable white and purple vortex. Gohan strains his focus through the shimmering chaos, tracking a mysterious, looming silhouette that continues to shift deep within the epicenter of the spatial fracture. The overwhelming suction intensifies, dragging both martial artists closer to the dimensional threshold and threatening to seal them inside the collapsing void forever. Piccolo increases his internal ki output, attempting to anchor their bodies against the relentless spatial distortion. Simultaneously, within the subterranean darkness of the Forgotten Red Ribbon installation, Gamma 1 aims his blaster directly at the heavily hissing incubation capsule as the pressure locks suddenly release. The reinforced metal door flies outward with immense force, revealing Android 13 stepping forward as the automated resurrection protocol achieves total synchronization. Android 13 instantly processes the surrounding environment with his mechanical sensors, identifying Gamma 1 as an unauthorized cybernetic entity that must be eliminated to protect the facility. Gamma 1 tightens his grip on his weapon, bracing himself for an immediate confrontation with the newly awakened remnant of the Red Ribbon Army. Android 13 launches himself forward, initiating a heavy physical assault with a powerful straight punch aimed directly at his opponent. Meanwhile, on the green plains of Namek, Elder Mori trembles under the immense, suffocating pressure radiating from the rejuvenated presence of the invading forces. Lord Slug steps closer to the village elder, his heavy footsteps shaking the soil as he reiterates his demand for the sacred summoning incantation under threat of total planetary annihilation. Elder Mori looks back at the terrified villagers, realizing that physical resistance is completely futile against such overwhelming malevolence. Compelled by the urgent need to preserve his people, Elder Mori turns toward the 7 massive, golden spheres arranged on the grass, and begins to speak the ancient Namekian words aloud. The peaceful sky of New Namek instantly transitions into complete darkness, as the 7 Dragon Balls emit a blinding, golden radiance that pierces the atmosphere. Purunga emerges from the swirling light, his colossal, draconic form expanding upward until he towers over the entire landscape with divine authority. Lord Slug watches the manifestation with malicious glee, stepping forward to loudly declare his desire for eternal youth in the universal tongue. Purunga remains motionless in the dark sky, his massive form oriented downward as he waits for Elder Mori to translate the command into the native Namekian language. Back on the sacred world of the god of destruction, Goku utilizes his instant transmission technique by focusing his energy with 2 fingers raised. Vegeta maintains his firm grip on his rival's shoulder, focusing his own senses to assist in locking onto the distant, erratic key signatures of their allies on Earth. Whis watches silently as the 2 Saiyans dissolve into a single point of light, vanishing completely from the divine realm in a fraction of a second. The sudden departure leaves the peaceful landscape quiet once more, shifting the immediate conflict entirely to the mortal universe. Materializing instantly on the tiled floor of the lookout, Goku and Vegeta stumble slightly as the intense gravitational distortions from the hyperbolic time chamber wash over the platform. Goku observes the heavily vibrating wooden doors of the mystical structure, noting that the ambient energy is tearing at the surrounding atmosphere. Vegeta shifts his weight, asserting that they must enter the unstable dimension immediately before the spatial fracture consumes the entire platform. Without a moment of hesitation, Goku lunges toward the entrance, pulling the door open to reveal the swirling vortex of white and purple energy that has trapped their companions. Plunging directly into the shimmering chaos of the fractured dimension, Goku powers up instantly, his brilliant golden aura flaring to combat the immense gravitational pressure. Vegeta follows closely behind, his own golden aura illuminating the dark, unstable void as they fly deeper into the tempest. Goku spots Gohan and Piccolo struggling against the powerful spatial pull a few hundred meters ahead. Vegeta accelerates his velocity, calling out to the trapped warriors to maintain their positions while he and Goku close the distance. Far below the surface of Earth, Gamma 1 ducks swiftly beneath the devastating fist of Android 13, the sheer force of the missed strike shattering a concrete pillar behind him. Gamma 1 retaliates by firing a rapid succession of photon blasts from his laser handgun at point-blank range. Android 13 absorbs the direct impacts with his dense cybernetic chassis, stumbling backward into a bank of active server monitors before quickly regaining his balance. Android 13 emits a harsh mechanical growl, his internal programming calculating a more aggressive approach to neutralize the agile superhero. Gamma 1 springs backward, resetting his defensive posture as the laboratory continues to shake from the intense kinetic feedback. Android 13 lunges forward again, swinging his heavy forearms in a brutal combination that forces Gamma 1 into a purely defensive retreat. Gamma 1 blocks each heavy strike with his cybernetic arms, feeling the immense physical durability of the ancient Red Ribbon model. Android 13 suddenly shifts his weight, delivering a powerful knee strike that connects with Gamma 1's midsection and sends him crashing through a row of rusted control panels. The impact triggers a series of electrical fires, filling the subterranean chamber with thick smoke and further compromising the structural integrity of the facility. Across the vastness of space on New Namek, Elder Mori yields to the imminent threat against his people, raising his voice to chant the translated wish to the massive dragon looming above. Porunga listens to the Namekian request, his massive draconic presence flashing with intense magical light as he acknowledges the command to restore the invading tyrant's youth. Lord Slug stands perfectly still as a brilliant beam of emerald energy descends from the dragon, enveloping his massive frame in a warm, rejuvenative glow. The ancient physical frailties plaguing the tyrant begin to dissolve rapidly, replaced by an influx of immense, dormant power. As the emerald light fades completely, Lord Slug flexes his restored hands, laughing maliciously as he feels the absolute prime of his physical strength returning to his body. Lord Slug unleashes a massive wave of personal ki that sweeps across the green plains, flattening the surrounding vegetation and forcing the native villagers to the ground. Elder Mori watches in despair, realizing that the tyrant's restored power level is far greater than anything the local defenders could ever hope to oppose. Lord Slug turns his gaze back to the Eternal Dragon, preparing to demand his second wish to secure absolute immortality for his entire conquering vanguard. Before Lord Slug can voice his next command to the Elder, a massive shadow suddenly blankets the dark landscape of New Namek as a colossal Imperial flagship enters the lower atmosphere. The immense vessel positions itself directly above the summoning grounds, its heavy engines producing a deep, ominous hum that disrupts the magical atmosphere. Frieza materializes on the grass via a localized displacement beam, stepping directly between the rejuvenated Namekian tyrant and the sacred Dragon Balls. Frieza looks around with supreme arrogance, explaining that he tracked the immense gathering of energy using his newly acquired planet core. Lord Slug roars with immense fury at the unexpected intrusion, refusing to let another conqueror interfere with his absolute triumph. Lord Slug swings his massive arm, unleashing a sharp wave of telekinetic force aimed at crushing the Galactic Emperor instantly. Frieza stands motionless, allowing the telekinetic assault to shatter harmlessly against his passive energy barrier without shifting his posture. Frieza chuckles softly, informing the giant warrior that his newly restored youth is utterly meaningless when compared to the absolute apex of universal power. Returning to the spatial crisis on Earth, Gohan feels the immense pressure ease slightly as Goku and Vegeta fly to his side within the vortex. Goku reaches out, grabbing Gohan by the shoulder to stabilize his position against the violent gravitational currents. Piccolo shouts over the roaring wind, explaining that the dimensional rift is actively feeding on their stray energy and cannot be closed through standard physical attacks. Vegeta focuses his attention on the vibrating crystalline singularity that serves as the anchor for the entire spatial collapse. Goku analyzes the situation rapidly, agreeing that a coordinated, multi-directional strike is required to shatter the core of the anomaly. Gohan shifts his battle stance in mid-air, focusing his full energy output while identifying the exact vulnerabilities within the glowing singularity. Piccolo positions himself on the opposite side of the vortex, hands, generating a heavy ki barrier to protect the group from the flying dimensional debris. Vegeta begins to gather energy into his palms, his golden aura flaring with increased intensity as he prepares to execute a precise tactical strike. Regulating his breathing, Goku transitions instantly into his divine form, his aura erupting into a brilliant blue flame that pushes back the surrounding chaos. Vegeta transforms simultaneously, his deep blue divine ki resonating with his rival's energy as they lock their sights onto the core of the rift. Gohan maintains his focus, channeling his maximum latent power to synchronize his upcoming attack with the Divine Saiyans. Piccolo gives the signal to fire, directing their collective might toward the precise epicenter of the collapsing dimension. Back in the crumbling underground laboratory, Gamma 1 recovers from the control panel debris, his internal diagnostic systems reporting minor structural damage to his cybernetic frame. Android 13 steps through the smoke, his hands glowing with a sinister crimson energy as he prepares to launch his signature SS Deadly Bomber technique. Gamma 1 activates his boot thrusters, launching himself into a rapid aerial maneuver to evade the tracking projectile fired by his opponent. The crimson sphere of energy streaks through the air, narrowly missing Gamma 1 before detonating violently against the laboratory's primary supercomputer terminal. The resulting explosion triggers a massive chain reaction, ripping through the remaining server racks and causing the ceiling of the underground bunker to cave in. Gamma 1 uses the chaotic distraction to dive through the smoke, delivering a powerful, momentum-driven kick that hurls Android 13 backward. Android 13 crashes beneath tons of falling concrete rubble, as his mechanical chassis sustains heavy damage from the impact. Gamma 1 lands firmly on the shifting ground, observing the collapsing structure, and realizing that the rogue installation is completely self-destructing. On New Namek, Lord Slug charges forward in a desperate rage, gathering his full physical power into a massive straight-right punch aimed at Frieza. Frieza waits until the very last millisecond, casually raising his left index finger to catch the giant tyrant's fist effortlessly. The immense kinetic shockwave from the blocked strike implodes the ground beneath their feet, creating a deep crater in the green landscape. Frieza mocks his opponent, remarking that such primitive physical strength is thoroughly insulting to his current state of evolution. With a subtle flick of his finger, Frieza unleashes a concentrated pulse of dark ki that strikes Lord Slug directly in the chest. Lord Slug is sent flying backward across the plains, his rejuvenated body crashing violently into a distant hillside where he lies completely incapacitated. Frieza turns his attention back to the terrified Elder Mori, demanding that the Namekian immediately use the remaining 2 wishes to grant him supreme spatial manipulation across all realms. Porunga continues to loom silently in the pitch-black sky, his massive form waiting for the mandatory Namekian translation to proceed. Elder Mori stands frozen in absolute terror, knowing that complying with the Galactic Emperor's demand will doom the entire multiverse to eternal tyranny. Elder Mori courageously remains silent, refusing to utter a single word to Porunga, despite the intense, lethal pressure radiating from the Emperor. Frieza focuses his gaze with cold irritation, raising his hand to execute the uncooperative Elder. The heavy silence hanging over the dark plains is suddenly broken by the intense crackle of descending energy from above. At that exact moment inside the fractured dimension of Earth, Goku unleashes a colossal Kamehameha wave directed at the right flank of the crystalline singularity. Vegeta simultaneously fires a powerful Galactic gun, the violet and blue divine energies intertwining as they rush toward the target. Gohan unleashes his full-power Masenko, adding a massive beam of white energy to the coordinated assault. Piccolo maintains the perimeter barrier with intense focus, channeling every ounce of his remaining strength to keep the exploding forces contained within the core of the rift. The 3 massive energy beams impact the singularity simultaneously, creating a cataclysmic detonation that threatens to tear the internal dimension apart. Piccolo transforms instantly into his ultimate form, his massive physique expanding, and his skin shifting to a deep orange hue as his power reaches its absolute zenith. Piccolo thrusts his enormous hands forward, generating a supreme ki barrier that violently compresses the expanding explosion inward. The intense physical and magical pressure forces the edges of the spatial tear to fuse back together, successfully sealing the rift. As the singularity collapses completely, the entire dimension dissolves, violently expelling Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Piccolo back into the physical world. They land heavily on the stone tiles of the lookout, their divine and enhanced auras instantly dissipating as they return to their baseline states. Goku pushes himself up from the ground, breathing heavily while checking on Gohan and Piccolo. The heavy wooden doors of the hyperbolic time chamber slam shut behind them, completely intact and free of any further spatial distortions. Piccolo stands upright, confirming that the structural integrity of the lookout and the earthly atmosphere has been fully stabilized. Gohan catches his breath, thanking his father and Vegeta for their timely intervention inside the unstable realm. Goku suddenly stiffens, detecting a massive, dark energy signature emanating from deep space. Vegeta reacts in unison, instantly recognizing the overwhelming malicious ki of Frieza active on the distant planet of New Namek. Deep underground within the collapsing Red Ribbon Laboratory, Gamma 1 forcefully clears a path through the burning structural debris with a precise photon strike. Gamma 1 locates the central data core of the destroyed supercomputer, ripping the encrypted drive from its housing to ensure the rogue AI resurrection protocol is entirely neutralized. The ceiling completely gives way behind him, burying the inactive remains of Android 13 under tons of solid rock and earth. Gamma 1 activates his thrusters, ascending rapidly through the vertical escape shaft to return to the surface before the entire mountain range collapses inward. High above the clouds on the lookout, Goku informs Gohan and Piccolo that they must remain behind to safeguard Earth from any secondary threats. Vegeta steps forward, placing his hand firmly on Goku's shoulder while demanding that they teleport to New Namek immediately to halt the Emperor's ambitions. Goku nods seriously, focusing his absolute attention on the colossal, distant energy signature of their nemesis across the cosmos. With a sharp execution of instant transmission, the two Saiyans vanish from the lookout, leaving their companions to watch over the peaceful skies of Earth. Materializing instantly on the darkened plains of New Namek, Goku and Vegeta land firmly on the grass directly in front of the summoning grounds. Porunga continues to loom overhead, his massive draconic form casting a deep shadow over Frieza and the captive Elder Mori. Frieza turns his head slowly, displaying a cruel demeanor as he acknowledges the sudden arrival of his eternal rivals. Goku takes a firm combat stance, warning the Emperor that they will not allow him to exploit the Namekian Dragon Balls for his personal conquest. Vegeta steps ahead of his rival, his internal ki beginning to hum with intense battle heat as he addresses Frieza directly. Vegeta asserts that their previous defeat was merely a temporary setback, and they have spent their time preparing specifically to dismantle his empire. Frieza chuckles softly at the defiance, explaining that his recent acquisition of the planet core has already amplified his power far beyond the parameters they witnessed before. Elder Mori watches the confrontation from a safe distance, praying that the Saiyans can withstand the terrifying pressure radiating from the galactic tyrant. In the distant background, Lord Slug struggles slowly to his feet, his rejuvenated body bruised but fueled by an absolute desperate rage. Lord Slug gathers the absolute remainder of his energy, launching himself forward in a reckless sneak attack aimed at the galactic Emperor. Frieza senses the incoming movement without even turning around, casually extending his left index finger toward the giant Namekian. A single, highly concentrated death beam pierces Lord Slug directly through the torso, terminating the tyrant's life instantly and sending his lifeless body crashing into the dirt. Goku observes the casual brutality, his expression hardening as he realizes that Frieza has become significantly more ruthless since their last encounter. Vegeta shifts his weight, refusing to let the display of power intimidate him as he prepares to unleash his ultimate form. Frieza lowers his finger, advising the Saiyans that they should feel honored to serve as the final test subjects for his newly enhanced capabilities. Porunga shifts slightly in the pitch-black sky above them, the magical dragon remaining entirely neutral as the tension between the warriors reaches a boiling point. Stepping forward into the center of the clearing, Goku transitions flawlessly into his state of absolute, serene calm as his silver aura erupts with divine brilliance. Vegeta transforms simultaneously beside him, a massive wave of deep purple destructive ki flaring outward and carving deep fissures into the soil of New Namek. Goku focuses his attention on the Emperor, his body moving automatically into a perfect offensive posture without a single wasted movement. Vegeta reacts fiercely, welcoming the immense pressure of the impending battle as his destructive energy begins to resonate with the hostile atmosphere. Frieza welcomes the dual challenge, his dark, metallic aura flaring to life, as he unleashes a portion of his supreme power to match the Saiyans' divine transformations. The sheer collision of their collective ki causes the entire planet of New Namek to experience severe tectonic instability, with the surrounding plains cracking violently under the pressure. Elder Mori scrambles backward to escape the oppressive gravity, completely overwhelmed by the divine forces clashing in front of the Dragon Balls. Porunga watches the escalating conflict from the darkened sky, his massive form illuminated by the contrasting silver, purple, and black energies below. Without warning, Goku vanishes from his position, reappearing instantly in front of Frieza to deliver a lightning-fast combination of striking attacks. Frieza reacts with incredible speed, raising his forearms to parry each automatic strike while maintaining his footing against the relentless Silver Warrior. Vegeta lunges from the left flank, swinging a heavy, energy-infused fist aimed at shattering the Emperor's defenses from a blind spot. Frieza pivots swiftly, executing a powerful tail swipe that intercepts Vegeta's strike and creates a deafening acoustic boom across the landscape. The immense physical collision sends shockwaves rippling across the entire planet, forcing Elder Mori to shield himself as the battle intensifies. Goku resets his posture instantly, flowing seamlessly into another rapid offensive sequence alongside the relentless pressure of Vegeta. Frieza intensifies his dark aura, his expression narrowing with genuine battle focus as he fully commits to crushing the combined might of his greatest adversaries. Porunga looms silently above the cataclysmic exchange, his massive presence reflecting the violent clash of divine destinies that will decide the ultimate fate of Universe 7. Goku shifts his weight instantly, his silver aura rippling as he maintains his fluid combat stance against the overwhelming dark presence of his opponent. Vegeta stands slightly to the left, his deep purple destructive energy flaring aggressively as the intense clash on New Namek continues without a single moment of intermission. Frieza glides backward a few meters, his metallic aura humming with the newly integrated power of the planet core, while he observes both Saiyans with cold amusement. Elder Mori remains huddled near the massive golden spheres on the ground, shielding himself from the immense pressure generated by the three colossal fighters. Porunga continues to loom silently in the pitch-black sky above them, his massive draconic form waiting for the next explicit command to proceed with the summoning ritual. Vegeta breaks the brief standoff by lunging forward, his powerful strikes wrapped in destructive ki as he targets the midsection of the Galactic Emperor. Frieza raises his arm effortlessly to deflect the incoming strike, the immense kinetic feedback carving deep fissures into the green soil beneath them. Goku capitalizes on the brief engagement, moving automatically into a blind spot on the opposite side to deliver a rapid succession of precise, high-velocity blows. The enhanced durability of the Emperor absorbs the impact, but the sheer force of the coordinated assault compels him to adjust his defensive posture to avoid losing his balance. Frieza unleashes a sharp wave of telekinetic force from his body, expanding his dark aura rapidly to repel both attackers simultaneously. Goku evades the pressurized energy wave automatically, his physical form drifting through the vacuum created by the explosion without a single wasted motion. Vegeta deliberately allows the telekinetic wave to strike his torso, absorbing the physical pain to further stimulate his internal power and expand his destructive aura. The tactical maneuver allows the prince to step closer through the blast, gathering a dense sphere of destruction energy at the tip of his fingers. Frieza notices the growing threat and swiftly redirects his attention toward the vulnerable Namekian leader standing near the Dragon Balls. Elder Mori trembles as the cold gaze of the Emperor locks onto his position, realizing that he remains the primary target for the tyrant's ultimate ambitions. Porunga shifts slightly in the darkened sky, his divine presence remaining entirely neutral to the mortal combat occurring directly beneath his massive frame. Goku senses the sudden shift in tactical intent, accelerating his velocity to place himself between the galactic tyrant and the defenseless Elder. Far across the cosmic divide at that identical microsecond, Gamma 1 bursts through the top of the collapsing vertical escape shaft into the open air of Earth's remote mountain range. The subterranean Red Ribbon laboratory completely caves in behind him, burying the inactive mechanical remains of Android 13 beneath tons of solid rock and earth. Gamma 1 secures the encrypted data drive tightly against his chassis, his cybernetic systems confirming that the rogue AI resurrection protocol has been completely terminated within the facility. Without delaying for a single moment, he activates his thrusters to launch himself into the upper atmosphere. Gamma 1 stabilizes his flight trajectory, heading directly toward the coordinates of West City at maximum operational velocity. While speeding across the sky, he establishes a secure, long-range audio communication link with the Central Command Center of Capsule Corporation to report his success. Bulma answers the transmission immediately from her laboratory console, listening intently as the cybernetic hero explains the destruction of the underground bunker and the retrieval of the core drive. Bulma instructs him to maintain his speed, explaining that she has detected additional global energy anomalies that require his immediate technical expertise. Bulma terminates the audio link and immediately begins preparing an advanced mainframe interface to receive the encrypted data. Gamma 1 appears as a rapid streak of light in the distance, descending swiftly through the open hangar doors of the Capsule Corporation facility to complete his journey. The automated landing systems guide him safely to the laboratory floor, where the mechanical cooling vents hiss softly as he shuts down his primary thrusters. He steps forward to present the glowing data core to the scientist, emphasizing that the files contain highly sophisticated encryption protocols that might be linked to a wider threat. Simultaneously, high above the clouds on the sacred platform of the lookout, Gohan walks over to the edge of the stone tiles to observe the stabilized atmosphere of the planet. Piccolo stands motionless beside him, his advanced senses tracking the faint, distant vibrations of divine ki echoing across the cosmic void from New Namek. Gohan notes that the immediate danger from the hyperbolic time chamber has subsided, but the heavy tension in the air suggests that a much larger conflict is unfolding elsewhere. Piccolo confirms his observations, explaining that the energy signatures of Goku and Vegeta are fluctuating violently against a massive, dark power. Piccolo shifts his position, explaining that the signature of Frieza has grown significantly more oppressive since their last encounter on Earth. Gohan listens with a serious expression, realizing that the survival of the Namekian race hangs in the balance once again if the tyrant secures the dragon's power. The realization prompts them to consider their options for interstellar travel, though they lack the immediate means to cross the vast distance without angelic assistance. Their tactical discussion is suddenly interrupted by the sharp ringing of a portable communication device carried by Gohan. Gohan answers the device immediately, listening as Bulma explains that Gamma 1 has just returned with highly critical data regarding a potential global conspiracy. Piccolo overhears the urgent briefing, agreeing that they must coordinate their efforts with the technical team at Capsule Corporation before making any decisions regarding deep space. Gohan informs the scientist that he and Piccolo will arrive at her location within minutes to assist with the data analysis. Without wasting another moment, the two martial artists leap from the edge of the lookout, descending at top speed toward West City. Moving back to the scorched plains of New Namek, Goku flows seamlessly around a devastating left hook launched by the galactic tyrant. Frieza sneers as his physical strike hits empty air, instantly pivoting to deploy his tail in a sweeping counterattack aimed at his rival's legs. Vegeta intercepts the tail swipe with a heavy double-axe handle strike, utilizing his enhanced physical durability to absorb the impact while grinding the Emperor's momentum to a temporary halt. The resulting shockwave sweeps across the landscape, forcing the surrounding dust clouds to disperse in a wide circle. Vegeta laughs fiercely through the physical strain, explaining that every blow he receives only serves to fuel his destructive instincts and elevate his combat power. Frieza narrows his focus in annoyance, refusing to allow the Saiyan Prince to gain a tactical advantage through sustained endurance. The Emperor channels a massive pulse of dark energy directly through his limbs, creating a localized explosion that forces Vegeta to break the physical lock and retreat backward. Goku immediately transforms into his ultimate state, filling the void left by his partner, and unleashing a flurry of air pressure strikes to maintain the offensive pressure. Frieza repels the incoming pressure strikes with a brief flare of his metallic aura, hovering slightly above the cracked ground of the clearing. He glances toward the giant golden spheres behind him, noting that the magical dragon remains perfectly stationary in the darkened sky. Frieza addresses the captive village leader, demanding that the mandatory translation be completed before he loses his patience and obliterates the entire quadrant. Elder Mori stands his ground despite the intense pressure, resolutely remaining silent to protect the sacred secrets of his people. Elder Mori looks toward the two Saiyan warriors, silently praying that their divine strength will be sufficient to neutralize the tyrant before the final wishes are compromised. Porunga continues to wait neutrally, his divine presence looming large against the pitch-black atmosphere of the planet. Goku adjusts his posture, communicating telepathically with Vegeta to coordinate an immediate maximum power diversion to draw the tyrant away from the Elder. Vegeta scoffs at the suggestion of cooperation, but increases his internal energy output to prepare for a devastating joint assault. Goku charges forward with incredible velocity, his silver aura illuminating the dark plains as he executes a complex series of feints to disrupt Frieza's tracking maneuvers. Vegeta advances simultaneously from the opposite side, gathering a colossal sphere of purple destruction energy between his cupped hands. Frieza stands firm between his opponents, his dark aura intensifying as he prepares to utilize the amplified life force of the planet core to withstand the impending dual strike. The tension between the three forces reaches a critical threshold as they converge on the central clearing. Meanwhile, inside the main laboratory complex of Capsule Corporation, Bulma rapidly inputs technical commands into her primary supercomputer terminal. Gamma 1 stands beside her, monitoring the data transfer as the encrypted files from the recovered Red Ribbon core drive populate the secondary screens. The mainframe processes the complex coding at a rapid rate, slowly stripping away the multi-layered firewalls established by the ancient cybernetic faction. Bulma notes that the underlying algorithm contains specific tracking coordinates that extend far beyond the parameters of Earth's solar system. Bulma pauses the sequence as Gohan and Piccolo descend through the hangar entrance, landing softly on the metallic floor of the lab. Gamma 1 turns to salute the arriving warriors, briefing them immediately on the data they have managed to extract from the destroyed mountain facility. Gohan reviews the scrolling holographic text, noting that the rogue AI protocol was designed to establish a network connection with an external celestial target. Piccolo steps closer to the terminal, his expression hardening as he recognizes the specific interstellar coordinates displayed on the screen. Piccolo explains that the coordinates point directly to the current location of New Namek, suggesting that the Red Ribbon remnants had identified the planet as a primary target for resource acquisition. Bulma adds that the automated signal was broadcasting a continuous telemetry stream to an unidentified vessel currently operating in that sector. Gohan deduces that the arrival of Frieza on New Namek might have inadvertently intercepted or triggered the secondary protocol hidden within the ancient files. The realization deepens their understanding of the crisis, linking the terrestrial threat directly to the galactic conflict. Gohan requests that Bulma attempt to amplify the signal to see if they can establish a remote sensory link with the target destination. Gamma 1 interfaces his internal communication arrays directly with the primary computer, offering his cybernetic processing power to accelerate the signal modulation. Piccolo keeps his focus on the energy monitors, noting that the distant power fluctuations from the Saiyans are becoming increasingly erratic. The team works with intense focus, knowing that any delay on Earth could result in the total eradication of their allies across the cosmos. Piccolo suggests that if they cannot physically travel to the battlefield, they must find an alternative method to provide strategic support or disrupt the tracking networks of Frieza. Bulma explains that her long-range subspace booster is nearly operational, which might allow them to project a high-frequency interference wave toward New Namek's atmosphere. Gohan shifts his stance, preparing his internal energy to serve as a power source for the booster if the mechanical systems require additional stimulation. They finalize their technical preparations, ready to deploy the experimental defense system at the next critical moment. Gohan feels a sudden, sharp spike in the distant key signatures, indicating that the battle on New Namek has escalated to a dangerous new level of intensity. Piccolo closes his eyes to focus his mental senses, confirming that Goku and Vegeta have fully committed their divine forms to a final offensive sequence. They realize that the window of opportunity to intervene is rapidly closing as the cosmic forces collide across the universe. The laboratory equipment hums loudly as the subspace booster reaches full operational capacity, waiting for the final execution command. Far across the cosmic void under the dark sky of New Namek, Frieza unleashes a continuous torrent of dark energy spheres from his fingertips. Goku maneuvers flawlessly through the explosive barrage, his silver form shifting automatically to evade the direct impacts with absolute precision. Vegeta advances directly through the explosions, the kinetic feedback tearing at his defenses but continually elevating his combat threshold to new heights. The sheer volume of the Imperial assault forces the entire landscape to tremble, sending plumes of smoke and debris into the upper atmosphere. Vegeta closes the distance rapidly, his purple aura roaring with destructive intent as he throws a devastating physical strike aimed at the Emperor. Frieza ducks beneath the strike with incredible agility, utilizing his heightened reflexes to deliver a swift counterpunch to the prince's midsection. The impact hurls Vegeta backward into a crumbling stone structure, the structural debris collapsing over his form as he absorbs the immense force. Goku immediately exploits the opening, appearing instantly above the tyrant to execute a sweeping downward heel kick. Frieza raises both arms to catch the descending kick, the immense collision creating an atmospheric shockwave that flattens the surrounding terrain for several kilometers. Goku maintains the pressure, utilizing his automatic movements to transition into a rapid series of spinning strikes that test the Emperor's defensive limits. Frieza strains under the pressure, feeling the precise efficiency of the Ultra Instinct technique chipping away at his passive energy barrier. The galactic tyrant decides to alter his strategy, utilizing a sudden burst of speed to break the engagement and descend toward the ground. Landing heavily near the center of the summoning grounds, Frieza reaches out with telekinetic precision to suspend Elder Mori in midair. Elder Mori gasps as the invisible force lifts him, his small frame completely helpless against the absolute power of the galactic dictator. Purunga looms silently above the scene, his massive draconic form remaining completely motionless as he awaits the spoken translation of the wishes. Goku lands a few meters away, his silver aura flaring with intense focus as he analyzes the hostage situation. Frieza tightens his telekinetic hold, loudly commanding the Elder to speak the necessary Namekian incantation to grant him supreme spatial manipulation across the realms. Elder Mori struggles against the immense pressure, yet he resolutely refuses to utter a single word to the dragon. Vegeta emerges from the stone rubble, his purple aura burning brightly as he steps forward to join his rival in confronting the tyrant. The Emperor warns them that if the Elder does not comply within the next 3 seconds, he will execute him and destroy the entire planet. Back on Earth, inside the Capsule Corporation laboratory, Bulma observes a sudden spike in the incoming subspace telemetry on her primary monitor. Gamma 1 analyzes the data streams, noting that the high-frequency interference wave has successfully established a connection with New Namek's upper atmosphere. Gohan steps closer to the console, sensing that the physical pressure on the distant planet has reached a critical breaking point. Bulma activates the long-range subspace booster, directing the full power of the array to disrupt the Imperial flagship's communication and tracking networks. Gohan focuses his internal energy, channeling a steady stream of ki into the booster's auxiliary power core to maintain the structural integrity of the signal, while the experimental device emits a loud, high-pitched whine across the cosmic divide. Piccolo tracks the celestial coordinates, confirming that the technical disruption has successfully reached the target sector to hinder the operations of Frieza. Bulma monitors the stabilization of the transmission from her console, ensuring that the energy flow remains consistent. Piccolo notes that while the mechanical disruption is active, the ultimate resolution of the conflict still depends entirely on the actions of Goku and Vegeta. Gohan maintains his supportive posture, his focus locked onto the distant power signatures as they battle for the fate of Universe 7. Bulma continuously calibrates the frequency dials, ensuring that the subspace signal remains perfectly locked onto the planetary coordinates despite the immense distance. The collaborative effort on Earth provides a critical, unseen support line to the distant battlefield. At that exact instant on New Namek, the massive Imperial flagship hovering in the sky begins to experience severe technical malfunctions due to the Earthborne interference wave. Frieza glances upward momentarily as the vessel's external automated alarms echo across the darkened landscape, momentarily distracting his focus from the hostage. Goku exploits the millisecond of hesitation, vanishing from his position to appear directly beside the suspended village leader. With a precise strike, Goku shatters the telekinetic bond holding the Elder, allowing him to drop safely to the grass. Vegeta charges forward simultaneously, launching a massive physical assault to prevent the Emperor from re-establishing his hold on the Namekian leader. Frieza recovers his composure instantly, his dark aura flaring with immense fury as he engages the Saiyan Prince in a brutal exchange of close-quarters strikes. The physical collision between destruction energy and enhanced Imperial power sends violent tremors through the planet's crust, deepening the chasms across the plains. Elder Mori scrambles backward through the dust, moving toward the safety of the giant golden Dragon Balls. Elder Mori realizes that the technical distraction will only last for a limited time before the galactic tyrant reclaims total control of the battlefield. Looking up at the colossal draconic form of Porunga, the village elder understands that he must make a definitive decision to preserve the universe from eternal tyranny. Frieza notices the elder's movement, executing a powerful strike that repels Vegeta before turning his attention back to the summoning circle. The Emperor unleashes a devastating death beam, aimed directly at the retreating Namekian leader to terminate his resistance permanently. Goku intercepts the lethal energy beam with a concentrated barrier, the intense friction creating a brilliant flash of silver and red sparks that illuminates the clearing. Goku shouts a telepathic command to the Elder, instructing him to use the dragon's power immediately to safeguard the Namekians and secure the spheres. Vegeta recovers instantly, placing himself directly in front of Frieza to absorb any secondary attacks while gathering his remaining energy for a final defensive wall. The two Saiyans fully commit their divine forms to provide the Elder with the necessary seconds to execute the wish. Frieza roars with absolute rage, his dark metallic aura expanding to its absolute maximum as he realizes his ultimate ambition is being actively jeopardized. The galactic tyrant unleashes a massive, omnidirectional wave of destructive ki that forces both Goku and Vegeta to maintain their defensive positions. Elder Mori takes advantage of the brief protective shield, raising his arms toward the dark sky as he begins to chant the final Namekian phrases. Porunga responds instantly to the native tongue, his colossal form flashing with a brilliant blinding emerald light that consumes the entire landscape. Porunga executes the spoken command, his magical energy enveloping the 7 giant spheres and the remaining Namekian survivors in a protective shroud of divine power. Frieza screams in frustration as the emerald light dissolves the remaining telemetry tracking codes, completely severing his connection to the magical artifacts. Goku and Vegeta maintain their battle stances through the blinding illumination, their divine auras resonating against the fading magical pressure of the summoning ritual. The sudden dissipation of the dragon's presence leaves the battlefield completely altered, shifting the parameters of the final confrontation. As the blinding emerald light recedes completely into the darkening atmosphere of New Namek, the 7 Dragon Balls transform into inert stone and scatter across the cosmic sectors according to their ancient laws. Porunga vanishes from the sky, leaving Frieza standing in the center of the cracked plains without his desired prize of spatial domination. Goku exhales slowly, his silver aura stabilizing as he locks his eyes onto the furious countenance of the Galactic Emperor. Vegeta steps up beside him, his purple destructive energy humming with intense battle heat as the 3 elite warriors prepare to decide the ultimate fate of the universe in an uninterrupted clash of absolute power. Frieza lunges forward without a single instant of delay, his dark metallic fist cutting through the dense air to initiate the physical engagement. Goku shifts his body automatically to the side, his silver aura casting a bright light across the cracked plains as he evades the initial strike with absolute precision. Vegeta positions himself rapidly on the right flank, his deep purple aura flaring violently as he prepares to capitalize on the Emperor's forward momentum. The sheer speed of the opening assault causes the surrounding ground to shatter further, sending large chunks of Namekian soil flying into the turbulent atmosphere. Frieza narrows his focus, instantly adjusting his trajectory to sweep his tail toward his opponents. Intercepting the sudden tail movement with exceptional timing, Vegeta drives his closed fist directly into the side of the galactic tyrant's torso. Frieza absorbs the immense physical impact with a sharp grunt, the sheer force of the blow generating a massive shockwave that expands across the entire clearing. Goku utilizes the brief opening to execute a rapid combination of air pressure strikes, each blow landing precisely on the vulnerable joints of their opponent's armor. The coordinated offensive pressure forces the Emperor to glide backwards several meters, his feet carving deep grooves into the green grass as he struggles to maintain his defensive balance. Vegeta pursues relentlessly, his destructive energy humming with increased intensity as he prepares another heavy assault. Recovering his balance instantly in mid-air, Frieza whips his elongated tail forward to ensnare the advancing Saiyan prince around the throat. Vegeta reacts by tightening his neck muscles, welcoming the intense physical pain as his internal power spikes from the direct combat trauma. Goku perceives the dangerous entanglement immediately, his body moving without conscious thought to charge a concentrated energy sphere at the tip of his fingers. The Silver Warrior fires the precise blast directly at the base of the Emperor's tail, intending to force a release through targeted kinetic pressure. Frieza scoffs at the tactical intervention, tightening his grip even further to crush his captive's defenses before the energy beam can connect. Deflecting the incoming silver energy blast with a sudden flare of his dark metallic aura, Frieza maintains his iron grip on the struggling Saiyan prince. Vegeta responds by driving both of his hands directly into the Emperor's forearms, channeling a massive surge of pure destruction ki into the opponent's upper body. Goku closes the distance at blinding speed, appearing directly behind the tyrant to deliver a powerful two-handed hammer strike to the back of his neck. The dual influx of divine and destructive energy forces Frieza to finally release his hold, his massive form stumbling forward as the spatial pressure around them fractures. Vegeta gasps for breath but immediately resets his combat posture, refusing to grant his nemesis any room to recuperate. Launching himself directly into the upper atmosphere to escape the immediate pincer movement, Frieza hovers high above the darkened plains while gathering his dark energy. Goku tracks the rapid ascent instantly, ascending in a spiral trajectory that allows him to maintain a perfect defensive orientation against any incoming long-range attacks. Vegeta follows closely behind, his purple aura trailing across the sky like an ominous comet, as his battle heat continues to elevate his physical capabilities. The galactic tyrant looks down at his approaching adversaries with absolute malice, explaining through his body language that their combined efforts will never suffice to overcome his augmented power. Frieza extends both hands downward, unleashing a torrential barrage of highly concentrated death beams to halt their upward progress. Weaving seamlessly through the descending crimson network of energy, Goku utilizes his autonomous reflexes to evade every single projectile without losing momentum. Vegeta chooses an entirely different tactical path, charging directly through the center of the explosive barrage and allowing the stray blasts to detonate against his physical form. The resulting explosions coat the sky in thick smoke and purple sparks, yet the Saiyan prince emerges from the chaos with a manic grin as his internal power level skyrockets from the sustained damage. Frieza expresses mild irritation at the reckless display of endurance, quickly increasing the density of his energy output to suppress the rising threat. Goku closes the remaining distance, his silver aura flaring brightly as he aims a decisive straight punch at the Emperor's chest. Parrying the Silver Warrior's punch with his left forearm, Frieza counters instantly by firing a point-blank energy blast from his right palm. Goku twists his torso automatically, the explosive beam grazing his shoulder and leaving a smoking combat injury across his skin. Vegeta arrives at that exact microsecond, slamming his knee directly into the Emperor's jaw with the full force of his accumulated battle heat. The crushing blow forces Frieza to reel backward, his dark metallic aura flickering momentarily as the planetary amplification from the planet core struggles to stabilize his internal systems. Goku immediately capitalizes on the destabilization, spinning fluidly to land a heavy kick against the tyrant's ribs. Retreating further into the stratosphere to create vital operational space, Frieza raises his right hand high above his head to manifest a colossal sphere of dark cosmic energy. Goku stops his pursuit instantly, his silver aura shimmering with intense focus as he recognizes the immense destructive potential of the growing attack. Vegeta glides to a halt beside his rival, his deep purple aura expanding outwards as he analyzes the dense concentration of planetary life force within the sphere. The Galactic Emperor announces through his booming voice that he intends to reduce the entire planet of New Namek to cosmic dust along with everyone on it. Frieza thrusts his hand downward, sending the massive supernova-like projectile hurtling toward the trembling landscape below. Stepping directly into the path of the descending cataclysm, Vegeta places both hands forward to intercept the massive sphere of dark energy. Frieza watches with cruel amusement, increasing his internal output to ensure the weight of the projectile crushes the Saiyan Prince completely. Goku positions himself immediately behind his companion, extending his own hands to channel a supportive flow of divine ki into the prince's back. The sheer kinetic pressure of the collision forces both Saiyans backward by several hundred meters, their feet generating intense friction against the air currents as they fight to halt the descent. Vegeta grits his teeth against the overwhelming strain, his destructive aura flaring to its absolute maximum as he begins to erode the outer shell of the Emperor's attack. Unleashing a massive wave of pure Hakai energy from his palms, Vegeta successfully destabilizes the core of the giant dark sphere. Frieza narrows his eyes in genuine surprise as the outer layers of his ultimate technique begin to dissolve into microscopic purple particles. Goku utilizes this moment of structural vulnerability to unleash a massive, full-power Kamehameha wave directly into the center of the fracture. The combination of divine blue light and destructive purple energy triggers a massive internal chain reaction within the cosmic projectile, causing it to implode violently in mid-air. The resulting detonation unleashes an all-consuming shockwave that completely obliterates the clouds and alters the gravitational field of the entire planet. Blinded momentarily by the brilliant flash of the cataclysmic explosion, Frieza relies on his advanced sensory capabilities to track his opponents through the billowing smoke. Goku emerges from the dense vapor cloud with exceptional velocity, his silver aura completely undisturbed by the concussive force of the detonation. Vegeta follows slightly behind, his physical form showing numerous minor lacerations from the explosive feedback, though his internal power remains entirely undiminished. The galactic tyrant quickly adjusts his posture, raising his defensive guard just as the Silver Warrior arrives to deliver a devastating elbow strike. The impact echoes across the upper atmosphere, forcing both combatants to engage in a rapid, high-stakes struggle for physical dominance. Swinging his heavy tail with malicious precision, Frieza manages to clip Goku across the temple during the close-quarters exchange. The unexpected strike disrupts the Silver Warrior's automatic movements for a fraction of a second, causing his divine transformation to flicker rapidly. Vegeta attempts to shield his companion by launching a barrage of destructive energy rings to bind the Emperor's limbs. Frieza easily evades the tracking projectiles, utilizing his superior velocity to deliver a brutal overhead double-axe handle strike directly to his opponent's chest. The immense blunt force drives the Saiyan hero downward at terminal velocity, sending him crashing heavily into the cracked plains below. Impact forming a massive crater in the center of the Namekian plains, Goku struggles to push himself up from the debris as his silver aura completely vanishes. Frieza looks down from the stratosphere with supreme satisfaction, believing that he has successfully eliminated one half of the Saiyan threat. Vegeta roars with absolute fury at the sight of his rival's fall, his purple aura exploding outward with unprecedented ferocity as he charges the Emperor once more. The prince launches a relentless, single-minded assault, throwing a flurry of heavy punches that ignore all defensive protocols in favor of absolute destruction. Frieza raises his forearms to block the incoming strikes, his metallic armor sustaining visible fractures from the sheer weight of the assault. Countering the frantic offensive with a precise and brutal knee strike to the ribs, Frieza halts the Saiyan Prince's momentum instantly. Vegeta coughs up a violent spray of fluid as the physical blow fractures his internal defenses, forcing his destructive aura to dissipate completely. The Emperor follows up with a swift spinning back fist that sends the prince hurtling downward toward the exact same crater where his rival lies. Vegeta hits the shattered soil heavily, his transformation fading entirely as the physical toll of his accumulated injuries catches up to his body. Frieza descends slowly from the sky, his dark aura humming softly as he hovers just a few meters above the defeated warriors. Hovering with an air of absolute cosmic superiority, Frieza chuckles quietly as he observes the exhausted states of his eternal rivals. Goku slowly helps his companion stand up, both Saiyans leaning against each other while keeping their eyes locked onto the tyrant. Vegeta wipes a trail of blood from his jaw, muttering through gritted teeth that they have faced far worse odds during their long martial arts careers. The Galactic Emperor explains that his current power level is completely beyond their comprehension, thanks to the continuous energetic amplification provided by the planet core. Frieza raises his right index finger, gathering a highly concentrated death beam to execute them both simultaneously. Shifting his weight to prepare for a final, desperate tactical maneuver, Goku whispers to his partner that they must synchronize their internal key frequencies perfectly. Vegeta nods silently in agreement, understanding that traditional individual strategies will never suffice to breach the Emperor's reinforced defenses. As the tyrant prepares to fire the lethal beam, both Saiyans suddenly activate their core divine reserves to initiate a simultaneous transformation. Goku powers up instantly, his brilliant blue aura erupting with divine light that illuminates the darkened landscape of New Namek. Vegeta transforms in unison, his deep blue energy resonating perfectly with his rival's aura to create a unified front. Firing the concentrated death beam with lethal intent, Frieza watches as the crimson projectile streaks toward the newly transformed Saiyans. Goku utilizes a precise instant transmission maneuver to vanish from the line of fire at the exact microsecond of impact. Vegeta moves simultaneously, appearing directly on the Emperor's left flank to deliver a powerful, divine-infused sidekick to his torso. The unexpected spatial relocation catches the tyrant completely off guard, the physical blow connecting cleanly and forcing him to stumble sideways across the clearing. Frieza growls in frustration, his dark metallic aura flaring violently as he scrambles to re-establish his defensive perimeter. Reappearing instantly on the right side of the staggered Emperor, Goku unleashes a rapid succession of precise, high-velocity punches. Frieza raises his hands frantically to parry the incoming assault, but the perfect synchronization between the two Saiyans splits his defensive focus completely. Vegeta capitalizes on the distraction, gathering a dense charge of Galactic gun energy into his palms before firing it at point-blank range. The massive purple-blue beam impacts the tyrant's back directly, creating a localized detonation that hurls him forward into the path of his opponent's waiting fists. The coordinated tactical pressure successfully prevents the Emperor from utilizing his full planetary amplification. Absorbing the heavy physical feedback with growing irritation, Frieza expands his dark aura into a massive protective shield to force his attackers back. Goku is thrown backward by several meters, his feet dragging across the loose gravel as he maintains his defensive stance. Vegeta stabilizes his position quickly, noting that the Emperor's internal energy signature is beginning to exhibit minor fluctuations due to the continuous strain. The Galactic Tyrant acknowledges through his cold laughter that their teamwork is impressive, but asserts that his physical endurance remains completely unmatched. Frieza charges forward with sudden, explosive velocity, targeting the Saiyan Prince with a brutal straight punch. Ducking swiftly beneath the incoming fist to evade the devastating impact, Vegeta retaliates with a sharp elbow strike to the tyrant's midsection. Frieza blocks the strike with his knee, instantly utilizing his tail to swing around and strike the prince across the shoulder. Goku lunges into the fray to intercept the tail, grabbing the limb with both hands and utilizing his full physical momentum to swing the Emperor around in a wide circle. The massive kinetic force hurls Frieza directly into a nearby rock formation, the obsidian structures shattering into dust upon contact with his dense metallic chassis. Vegeta immediately begins gathering energy for another coordinated long-range assault. Emerging from the shattered rock debris completely unscathed, Frieza unleashes a massive telekinetic shockwave that ripples across the entire plane. Goku struggles to maintain his footing as the ground beneath him liquefies under the immense spatial pressure. Vegeta is forced to abandon his energy gathering, raising a quick ki barrier to protect himself from the flying shards of obsidian stone. The Galactic Emperor hovers above the destruction, explaining that his connection to the planet core allows him to continuously draw upon the deep geological reserves of the dead worlds he conquered. Frieza focuses his gaze, preparing to unleash an even greater concentration of cosmic energy to terminate their resistance. Realizing that their current divine forms are insufficient to secure a definitive victory, Goku deepens his focus to re-enter his state of absolute, serene calm. Once Goku transitions instantly back into a brilliant silver sheen, his body moves automatically as the oppressive telekinetic pressure washes harmlessly around him. Vegeta transforms simultaneously beside his rival, his deep purple destructive energy flaring to life with renewed vigor as Vegeta welcomes the escalating heat of the battle. Frieza narrows his eyes at the return of their ultimate transformations, his dark aura humming with intense power as he prepares to meet them head-on. The three elite combatants lock eyes, knowing that the final phase of their violent confrontation has arrived. Vanishing from his position with completely untraceable velocity, Goku reappears directly in front of the Galactic Tyrant. Frieza throws a rapid combination of striking attacks, but the Silver Warrior's autonomous reflexes allow him to drift fluidly around every single fist. Vegeta advances from the blind spot, his fist enveloped in pure destruction ki as he drives it squarely into the Emperor's jaw. The crushing impact fractures a portion of the tyrant's metallic facial plating, causing dark energy to leak from the open combat injury. Frieza roars with absolute fury, his composure completely shattering as he feels the physical toll of the Saiyan's peak forms. Unleashing an omnidirectional burst of dark cosmic energy to clear his immediate surroundings, Frieza forces both Saiyans to take a temporary defensive posture. Goku glides backward automatically, his silver aura absorbing the residual heat of the blast without allowing his posture to waver. Vegeta absorbs the brunt of the dark explosion directly, his purple aura expanding exponentially as the physical pain elevates his destructive capacity to its absolute zenith. The Saiyan Prince laughs fiercely through the smoke, asserting that the Emperor's desperation is only making his opponents stronger. Frieza glares at the rising power level of his nemesis, realizing that a prolonged war of attrition favors the Saiyans. Attempting to re-establish total control over the battlefield, Frieza raises both hands to manifest dozens of tracking death beams around his body. Goku advances through the forming network of energy with absolute serenity, his automatic movements allowing him to thread through the narrowest gaps between the beams. Vegeta charges directly alongside him, using his massive destructive aura to vaporize any projectiles that threaten to intercept their forward progress. The galactic tyrant backs away in visible apprehension, his internal sensors indicating that the planetary amplification from the planet core is reaching its operational limits. Goku closes the distance, landing a precise palm strike directly over the Emperor's heart. The concentrated force of the Silver Warrior's palm strike sends a massive shockwave directly through Frieza's internal organs. The galactic tyrant gasps for air as his dark metallic aura flickers violently, the stabilization of the planet core's energy completely failing within his chassis. Vegeta arrives instantly to capitalize on the vulnerability, delivering a devastating spinning kick to the Emperor's midsection that sends him hurtling across the plains. Frieza crashes heavily into the cracked soil, rolling several times before coming to a halt near the edge of the summoning circle. Goku hovers silently above the fallen Emperor, his silver aura pulsing with a calm, decisive light. Struggling slowly to his knees while coughing up dark fluid, Frieza glares upward at the two Saiyans with an expression of pure, unadulterated hatred. He realizes that his newly acquired artifact has been completely overwhelmed by the perfect combination of absolute instinct and pure destruction. Vegeta descends to the ground a few meters away, his purple aura humming softly, as he advises the tyrant that his reign of terror over Universe 7 terminates today. Goku shifts his weight, his internal focus entirely locked onto the final tactical movements required to secure the victory. The Galactic Emperor slowly raises his hand, his fingers trembling as he attempts to gather a final spark of cosmic energy. Recognizing that the threat must be neutralized permanently to ensure galactic safety, Goku brings his cupped hands down to his side. A brilliant sphere of silver-blue energy begins to form within his palms, the ambient light illuminating the entire desolate plain of New Namek. Vegeta positions himself adjacent to his rival, raising his right hand high to gather a colossal sphere of purple Hakai energy to complement the attack. Frieza watches the dual energy accumulation with a sudden, rare look of genuine dread, his internal systems completely unable to generate a sufficient defensive barrier to withstand the impending assault. The surrounding atmosphere grows entirely still as the Saiyans finalize their preparations, unleashing their ultimate technique simultaneously. Goku fires a colossal Kamehameha wave, while Vegeta launches his massive sphere of destruction. The two divine energies intertwine seamlessly in mid-air, creating a massive torrent of silver and purple light that rushes toward the incapacitated Emperor. Frieza screams in absolute defiance, throwing both of his hands forward to meet the incoming cataclysm with the absolute remainder of his dark power. The initial collision creates a blinding flash that completely obscures the horizon, the sheer pressure of the clashing forces generating intense spatial distortions across the sector. The Saiyans maintain their absolute maximum output, pushing the beam forward with resolute determination. Overwhelming the tyrant's final defenses within a fraction of a second, the combined divine assault completely engulfs Frieza's massive frame. The immense kinetic and magical pressure forces the galactic dictator backward, his dark metallic aura dissolving entirely under the relentless influx of silver and purple ki. High above the battlefield, the automated defensive sensors of the Imperial flagship register the catastrophic loss of their commander's life signature. The remaining operational crew immediately initiates an emergency retreat protocol, activating the vessel's primary hyperdrive engines to flee the sector before the spatial explosion consumes them. The massive starship vanishes into deep space, leaving the tyrant entirely isolated within the blast. carried upward by the sheer momentum of the colossal energy beam. Frieza is blasted completely out of New Namek's lower atmosphere into the vacuum of space. The final detonation occurs far beyond the stratosphere, creating a brilliant star-like flare that illuminates the dark cosmos for several seconds before slowly fading into nothingness. Goku slowly lowers his hands as his silver aura begins to dissipate, his physical form returning to its baseline state immediately after the threat clears. Once Goku stumbles slightly from exhaustion, he leans forward to catch his breath while surveying the silent landscape. Vegeta drops his arm, his purple destructive energy fading away as Vegeta breathes heavily from the intense physical exertion of the battle. Standing firmly amidst the deep craters of the scorched plain, Vegeta adjusts his posture while acknowledging that their nemesis has finally been neutralized. Goku looks up at the peaceful sky, noting that the dark atmosphere created by the summoning ritual has fully dispersed, returning the planet to its natural state. The 7 inert stone spheres remain scattered across the distant sectors of the cosmos, safe from the hands of any galactic conquerors for the foreseeable future. Vegeta crosses his arms, muttering that their intense training on Beerus's planet was the only reason they managed to survive the tyrant's augmented capabilities. They both understand that while this specific crisis has concluded, their duty to protect the universe remains an ongoing endeavor. Sensing a sudden, familiar presence materializing behind them, Goku turns around to see Whis standing calmly near the center of the clearing. Whis taps his staff lightly against the ground, the gemstone glowing with a soft blue light as he compliments the Saiyans on their exceptional tactical execution. Vegeta demands to know how the angel managed to arrive so quickly after the conclusion of the battle. Without utilizing standard transportation methods, Whis explains that he had been monitoring their progress from the divine realm, and chose to intervene only after the cosmic balance had been successfully restored. The divine attendant offers to restore their physical stamina to ensure they can return home safely. Accepting the divine assistance with a grateful nod, Goku feels a warm wave of rejuvenative energy wash over his exhausted body. Vegeta stands quietly as his minor combat injuries heal instantly, his internal reserves completely replenishing under the influence of the angelic staff. Whis informs them that the disruptions on Earth have also been fully resolved by Gohan and Piccolo, ensuring total peace across the key sectors of Universe 7. Goku smiles broadly, expressing his relief that their companions managed to secure the planet while they were occupied with the Emperor. The confirmation of universal stability allows the elite warriors to finally relax their defensive postures. Preparing to depart from the restored plains of New Namek, Vegeta places a hand firmly on Goku's shoulder to prepare for the return journey. Whis raises his staff aloft, enveloping all 3 of them in a brilliant pillar of blue light that prepares to cross the dimensional threshold back to the divine realm. Goku casts one final look at the pristine green landscape, silently wishing the native population well as they rebuild their peaceful villages from the remnants of the invasion. The magical light intensifies, completely concealing their forms as the spatial displacement sequence achieves full synchronization. With a sharp acoustic chime, they vanish from the mortal world entirely, leaving New Namek in absolute tranquility. Materializing instantly back onto the smooth grass of Beerus's planet, Goku and Vegeta adjust their weight as the familiar divine energy hums quietly around them. Whis steps ahead to return his staff to its resting position, his calm demeanor signaling the official conclusion of their perilous galactic assignment. Beerus opens one eye from his stone lounger nearby, muttering a brief complaint about the sudden flash of light, before returning to his peaceful nap. Goku grins at his rival, suggesting that they rest for only a single hour before resuming their daily sparring sessions to perfect their techniques further. Vegeta smirks confidently, walking toward his training position while asserting that he will be the one to surpass the apex of divine power during their next encounter.